All right, good evening. We have lots of newly admitted students joining us tonight. I'm going to give everyone a second to log on. See the number count keep rising. That's exciting. Well, my name is Devin Thompson. I am with the Visitor Experience team here in the Office of Admission for the College of Charleston. And on behalf of my colleagues and I just want to congratulate all of you. We are so excited that you have been offered admission to CFC to start this upcoming fall. We know that this is an exciting time, but it's certainly not a time without questions. And so we want to cover all of the questions, concerns that you have in order to take your next steps towards enrolling at CFC. So tonight we have a fantastic lineup of counselors who will be presenting as well as answering questions virtually. So just a few quick housekeeping things before we begin. Morgan and Kadeem are two of our admissions counselors who will be presenting this evening. The presentation itself will only take probably 10 minutes. It's not a ton of information. What we really want to spend a lot of time on tonight is the Q&A because, like I said, everyone's going to have some unique questions and we want to make sure we get those answered. If you do have a question that you would like to ask, please make sure you drop it in the Q&A, not the chat. The Q&A will allow us to track that a little bit easier. We have 3 admissions counselors who will be monitoring the chat, and then we will also be taking those questions live once the presentation is over. So without further ado, I will pass it on over to Morgan and Kadeem for introductions.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome, Devin. Hi, everyone. My name is Morgan Clinton. I am an admissions rep here at the College of Charleston. I'm so excited. Devin, you can press next so we can go ahead and congratulate these phenomenal students for being offered a chance to come to the College of Charleston as an incoming freshman. This is a huge accomplishment that you and your family should be proud of. So again, claps for you. Congratulations. You can press next. So a big question that we get is, I've been accepted. How do I let you guys know that I'm coming? And you do so by paying your $400 non-refundable enrollment deposit. And so in order to pay this deposit, you guys can log into your My Portal account with your CFC credentials. If you don't remember what those credentials are, we did put them in your application portal. So you'll have some step-by-step instructions on that, as well as what those credentials are for you. But through your My Portal account, you will be able to access the My Accounts tab, and that is where you'll go to pay your enrollment deposit. That little icon there, you see that circle maroon icon with the debit card and the text e-bill, that is what you will select in My Portal, and you can go there to officially confirm your spot in the incoming freshman class. So I would encourage you to do this as soon as possible, just so you can go ahead and get that out of the way. Next, Devin. So next, you'll also want to apply for housing. So we have various housing options at the College of Charleston. These are some very strict deadlines and dates that you need to pay attention to. So February 1, which is tomorrow, the housing application will open for you all. So that is where you can go to select your preferences for housing. May 1st is the deadline for any changes and a guaranteed housing. So some people, they like to ask, do I need to wait until the last minute? No, don't. If you know you're going to want guaranteed housing, get that deposit submitted first of all, but then go ahead and apply for housing. The housing application fee is $50 and that is non-refundable. Again, that is a separate fee, separate from the $400 enrollment deposit. So again, on tomorrow, go ahead and go into that portal, submit your housing application so you can get your first dibs on housing. Moving forward, Devin. Perfect. So while we're making these accommodations to ensure that the fall semester comes up smoothly, you guys are going to want to ensure that you're submitting all official final high school transcripts. So I want to stop here for a little bit because sometimes we get super excited in our acceptance and, we just forget to do this part of it. So upon graduation, you'll want to go ahead and directly request that your high school transcripts be sent to the College of Charleston. We will need these, you guys. We were able to use your unofficial transcripts for the purpose of making an admissions decision, but the official ones are needed. So you can submit those by mail, email, or a secure transmission server. Again, the College of Charleston does accept AP or any kind of dual credits that you may have received. So feel free to submit those transcripts as soon as possible. Although we were test optional, some of you guys did choose to submit test scores. We will also need those official test scores from those testing agency websites. So make sure that you select College of Charleston as the institution that will be receiving those. funding resources. So this is the part that gets everybody excited, right? So College of Charleston does accept various scholarship opportunities or different funding resources, especially from outside scholarships. So you're going to want to submit your FAFSA if you haven't done so. We highly encourage that, just so that our students are maximizing their funding opportunities. So whether you're in state or out of state, especially if you're in state and you know that you may qualify for Life, Hope, or Palmetto Fellows, you're going to want to go ahead and submit that FAFSA. It's very important, just so again that you're maximizing your opportunities there. If you have received any merit scholarships that would have been included in your admissions decision, however, you guys can also submit that FAFSA ASAP so that you can maximize those opportunities there. Next. Cougar Scholarship Awarding System. So this is a great portal or platform that we have created for our students to apply to privately funded scholarships that we have here at CFC. It's so cool and it's unique. You guys can access all of our departmental scholarships that we have available to you, and it's an easy application. That deadline for this is February 1st. I just checked out the portal before I got on the webinar, and there are a ton of options for you guys to submit to. So please check out cfc.academicworks.com so that you can apply for these additional funding opportunities. So the next part, I would like to bring up the phenomenal admissions counselor, Kadeem Sabari, so that he can do the next portion for us. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Morgan. Hello, everyone. My name is Kadeem Sabari. I'm an assistant director of regional admissions based here in the DFW area of Texas. Once again, congratulations on being accepted. And we're going to talk about some very important information for our incoming freshmen. So first, we're going to talk about your tuition and fees. I know it's something that everyone's always wondering, well, how much does college cost these days? So here on this chart, you'll see this is for the current academic year. And so the tuition for the next year will come out in about July. So make sure you're kind of staying up to date with that. I do want to point out some things. You see room and board, you see books and supplies, transportation, they all have those asterisks beside them. Something you want to make note is that those asterisks mean that those are just weighted averages. The actual cost of books and supplies and the room and board all depends on what dorm you're going to be staying in, how you decide to get your books, any personal expenses you have to choose by for that semester. So they all vary based on your choices, but your tuition and fees are going to be constant. And again, this is for this current academic year, and the one for the following year will come out in about July. So make sure that you're staying on top of it and staying up to date, so that way you know where your tuition and fees are coming in. And as a quick tip, you don't always have to buy your books new. You can always rent them. You can always buy them from other people who have taken the course before, just as an extra tip for incoming freshmen. And so next, we're going to be talking about the Honors College. We're going to talk about just a quick couple of little events they have going on for some of those admitted students. If you were admitted into the Honors College, we have our interview weekend coming up. If you have already been invited and you already reserved your spot for that, that is this upcoming weekend. And then we do have our Honors Day experience. It's on campus. It's March 17th. It's a way for you to get some more personal experiences with the honors faculty, honors students, the dean themselves. So if you're interested, if you're an admitted honors student, I would definitely recommend checking out this experience to get kind of a personal experience and getting to talk to more people who are involved in the Honors College. And if you have any questions, their email is at the bottom. Next is orientation. Orientation registration will open up in early March. You do need to pay your deposit in order to register for orientation. So if you know that you are already going to come and be a Cougar for the fall, you need to make sure that you already pay your enrollment deposit, so that way you can pay and register for orientation. Because the earlier you do it, the better chance you have of getting a premier spot that works with your calendar. You don't want to do it at the last minute because you don't want to have to scramble to find a date that works for you. It is going to be on campus, it's in person. We do have limited spaces for students who do want to stay on campus overnight. So if that's something that's really important to you, definitely try to get there first so that way you can get a premier spot so you can stay on campus overnight, excuse me. So definitely want to make sure you get all of that stuff done, and check out the orientation checklist. This checklist is super important, so that way you can have a wonderful orientation experience. You can go through smoothly. And I just want to let you know some of the things that you'll be doing at orientation are your advising. So that way you can figure out what classes you need to be taking, registration, so that way you can register for those classes that you're going to take for the fall. And then Along with that, you just want to make sure that you do have your final transcript submitted before you show up to orientation. So that way we can confirm your AP credits, your dual credit classes, everything that we need to know what courses you're going to be taking that fall. Thanks, Devin. We do have some pre-college programs. We have Spectra here. Spectra is the Speedy Consolidation and Transition Program, as you see on the screen. This is for some of our underrepresented populations here at the College of Charleston. It's a summer program where you can enroll in classes, earn college credit, live on campus. And this is a really wonderful program, especially for those who are not familiar with the Charleston area. So that way you can kind of get acclimated to the city, learn your way around, and make some new friends. So that way when the fall starts and all of our students are back on campus, you won't feel like a fish out of water because you've already made a great connection through the Spectra program. So if you have any questions, that website is right there at the bottom. Definitely check it out if you are going to be coming from a little bit further away, like I said, so that way you can kind of make some new friends before you start in the fall. And then another experience that we have is the Cougar Excursion. As you see, is a 3-day, 2-night interactive program. And it's a great way for students who want to learn more about the campus and facilitate a sense of community, make some new friends, kind of get out into the community, do some things of that nature. Here's the cost is $250. It covers your meals, housing, activity fees, and transportation for the program. If you look at the bottom, it tells you the website for it. Always check the website for more specific details, but it also tells you who it's through. It's through our Leadership Center, and it does open in the spring. So you really want to make sure that you are checking the website all the time for new updates and asking any questions that you have about our Cougar Excursion program. And then last but not least, you need to make sure that you come and visit the college. We do have some admitted student days coming up. We have one on February 25th and one on March 18th. You really want to make sure that you, again, don't wait till the last minute to register. Make sure you get that spot, because again, if we're out of spots, unfortunately, we may have to find you at another time. But we do have campus visits all the time. We do have virtual visits as well. And we do have virtual admitted student events coming up. So make sure that you come visit us at your earliest convenience if you have not done so already, because we are more than welcome and more than happy to host all of our admitted Cougars. So thank you so much for listening to this presentation. What we're going to do is going to open it up to our Q&A. But before we do that, make sure we check all of our get in touch information. Here's our admissions email. Here's our phone number. Check us out on social media, because if you've gotten your acceptance letter and you haven't already posted that you're going to be a possible Cougar in the fall, go ahead and do that. We'll shout you out on all of our social media pages. And so get involved and stay in touch. Again, thank you so much, everybody.
It would help if I unmuted myself. Thank you to Kadeem and Morgan for a great presentation. Just quickly to remind everyone, go on and start submitting your questions to the chat. Now is where we're going to open up the Q&A. And one question while you all are thinking about the ones you'd like to submit, one question that I saw come in quite a few times was just some clarification on the enrollment deposit and the housing deposit. So if we could just again remind folks, you have to pay your enrollment deposit first before you can fill out the housing application tomorrow. So as Morgan stated, go on and submit. If you know that CFC is for you, go on and submit that enrollment deposit tonight. And then that way, when the housing application opens up tomorrow, you can pay that $50 and start the housing application. All right, well, let's take a look at the questions that are rolling in. The first question, this is one we get a lot, so we should definitely answer it live. What kind of parking is available to students on campus?
So there are a lot of different parking options for students. However, it's really based off of credit hours for the most part. I didn't really need a car my freshman year, although I chose to bring my car. I was able to utilize the alternative parking options because I didn't meet the credit hour requirement. However, there are various garages that students can park in, or various student parking lots, but those are highly based off of credit hour. But you really don't need your car, if I could be honest. I know we don't really put restrictions on students whether or not they can or can't bring their car, but you won't need it for the most part. There are a lot of different public transportation options that we have through CARTA. So yeah, or walking distance as well for your classes.
So I will add to that too. This is Rebecca Jury. You don't need to see me tonight. But students technically aren't allowed to have a car on campus, like Morgan was saying, until a certain amount of credit hours. That credit hour number is going to be about 60, which doesn't tend to be until your junior year. But just reiterating what Morgan said, you really don't need that car. You might live off campus at some point where you might have a driveway or a parking lot or something like that, to where you'll be able to park that car much easier too.
Perfect. Well, Rebecca, while I have you on unmuted, we have a couple questions that I think you wanted to answer live. The first one is related to the Honors College, and it asks, can you still apply to the Honors College? I read that after January 15th, it's based on the size and wait list if you can get in. Would you suggest applying very late? And also, could you apply to the Honors College during your first semester at CFC?
Great question, and one that we did get a lot over the past couple of questions. It is going to be more so on a case-by-case basis, but they have seen a tremendous amount of applications this year for Honors College. And so you'll need to reach out to your admissions counselor more so than anything to see if you'll be able to still apply. We kind of have an idea of the amount of spots that are available and everything. So reach out to your admissions counselors. I'm sure Grace and Madison can put a link in the chat or in the Q&A of all of your admissions counselors. Technically, you still can apply to honors after your first semester, second semester at CFC, but it does become a lot more difficult simply for the fact that there's not as many spaces available. And to be honest, a lot of the amazing opportunities that come with our Honors College are going to be taking place during your freshman year. So it's not impossible, but it's not likely. Perfect.
Thank you. All right. Our next question, I think any of our counselors could answer this. So I'll open it up to all of you. What are the benefits of being a part of the Honors College for a student that may still be deciding if they were offered admission but have not committed yet?
So some of the benefits of being in the Honors College is that you do get to live in, they have honors housing. So you will be able to live with a lot of the students that you're going to class with. Some of the faculty do have offices in Berry Hall, I believe is what it's called, with the honors students. So you get a lot more access to your professors. It's more of a tight-knit community because it is a smaller school compared to the rest of the campus as a whole. And then they do a lot of what we call experiential learning and taking what they're learning inside the classroom and doing it in real world experiences outside of the classroom. And so that's a huge part of the Honors College. So I would say those are some of the major benefits about being in the Honors College. And like Rebecca said, a lot of that you will get your freshman year because most freshmen will live on campus their first year. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more tight-knit, finding your friends a little bit more easily, I would definitely recommend looking into the Honors College if you're still interested, because it can never hurt to apply.
All right, thank you, Kadeem. Our next question, I've seen a few, and I'll tackle this one. It's related to our admitted student days. So I know a lot of you just got your decision last week and you are anxious to register for those. We did close registration for the March event just to reserve enough spots for your group as well as our regular notification students that will be getting their decisions in a few more weeks. So that will open up again on March 1st. In the meantime, you can contact our office if you know March 18th is the best date for you, and we can get you on a wait list for now. But if you have any questions, of course, reach out to your admissions counselor specifically about that process. And then just to confirm, we will only be offering these 2 admitted student days. They're pretty comprehensive. We start with registration opening at 8 those days. First events start at 9, and it's very much so built out like a conference. So we have several different activities going on every hour on the hour, and we conclude at 3 with a a block party style celebration. So February 25th will be an exciting time. It's also our family weekend on campus. So you will see not only newly admitted students and families, but current students and their families. And that'll give you a really nice sense of what life could be like during your freshman year next year too. But as Kadeem mentioned, we will have some virtual admitted student events going on also this semester. And we encourage you to take part in everything. If the admitted student dates just don't work for you and your family's schedule, we also have several tour, Build Your Own Campus tour experience days. Those are an expanded visit option. Those dates are February 20th. We have a few more spots left during our 11 o'clock session on President's Day, February 20th. And then we also are offering Build Your Own Campus tour days on March 31st and April the 7th. So keep those dates in mind, and we of course will accommodate you in our campus tours. If a random Tuesday in the middle of the week works best for your family, we want to get y'all on campus for sure. All right, next question. This one asks, what happens if I enroll and am later admitted to a school that I've been deferred or waitlisted to and decide to go there instead? I see that the deposit is non-refundable, but is there any other kind of repercussions for committing to CFC other than losing the deposit? Anyone?
Making sure. So I'm trying to make sure that I read the whole question. So if you decide to pay the deposit and enroll at the College of Charleston, and then you're later accepted to a school and decide to go there, because the deposit is non-refundable, you would just unfortunately lose out on that deposit. But the commitment you're making to enroll is that you are committing to come to the College of Charleston and be a future Cougar with us. So you'd be able to experience all the wonderful things we have to offer on our college. So that is kind of the commitment you're making. So if you're still waiting on other decisions from other colleges, if you're on a wait list and you're waiting to see if you get off of that wait list, I would definitely hold off on paying that deposit, because that is a chunk of change and it is non-refundable. But again, that is all very much a personal decision between you and your family. So whatever you all decide to do, but I would just not recommend paying a deposit if you're not 100% set on committing to the College of Charleston, because it is non-refundable.
All right, thank you, Kadeem. Our next question asks, oh, excuse me, I lost the the list. It asks, what's the average class size and what's the smallest, largest class comparisons that are offered at CFC? Rebecca, it looked like maybe you wanted to answer this one.
Yes, of course. So our average class size at College of Charleston is only about 23. So very, very small, very honestly similar to what y'all are used to in high school already. And then we do not have a classroom on campus that holds more than about 100 students. Those are going to be your intro to biology, intro to psychology courses that might be in that classroom. As a graduate of the College of Charleston, my largest class was only about 50 of us. And that was my intro to geology course. And I still knew my professor very well.
Perfect, thank you. So we're getting a lot of housing questions, and we have some students that are thinking ahead for their time at CFC. And this question asks, is there honors housing for upperclassmen? And if not, how hard is it to live on campus as an upperclassman?
So I've looked into returning student housing. It is a little bit more difficult to secure housing as an upperclassman. I do know on the housing website, they do have specific populations of students that may get housing as an upperclassman. For instance, if you are an RA or something in the dorm, but typically it is a little bit more difficult to get housing as a returning student on our campus. The housing website does have a little bit more detailed information, like I said, about which specific populations can get housing as a returning student. So I would definitely run to that website, not run because you're on the computer, but I would definitely recommend checking out the housing website, because they'll give you more detailed information about how to possibly secure housing as an upperclassman at the College of Charleston.
Perfect, thanks, Kadeem. Our next question asks, are there any general required classes for all students?
Yeah, so there are general required courses that you will have to submit. So definitely you will have to meet your general education requirements. I would encourage you guys to go on our website. Those are posted there for you to look at if any of you other counselors want to chime in as well. But there are a set amount of credit hours or certain courses that you have to take. So for example, of course, any kind of like English courses or creative writing, any kind of history courses as well. You also have to take a certain amount of electives or like humanity courses too. So you're definitely going to want to check those out on our website. And then of course, after that, of course, your major courses will be different depending on what your major is, but there are general education requirements that are required of all students.
Perfect, thanks. The next question is applicable to honors college students and general admitted students, and it's just focusing on the acceptance of dual enrollment, AP, IB credits, etc. Do we accept those?
Yes. We do accept your AP credits, your dual enrollment credits, anything of that nature. So if you are submitting your transcripts and you did take dual enrollment classes, make sure that you submit all transcripts. I know sometimes colleges have separate transcripts for dual enrolled students. So make sure whatever classes you took and whatever transcript you're submitting have every class that you took on there, because that's what the advisors are going to be looking at when you are speaking with them about what classes you're going to be taking. And we would hate for students to have to possibly repeat a class because a transcript was missing.
Perfect, thank you. Let's see. This is a great question, and it's specifically about gym facilities on campus, but I think it's a good way to talk about any of the amenities, for lack of a better term, that we offer at CFC. Are those gym access and things like that, are those included with our tuition payments, or is there an additional fee?
Absolutely. So that is all included. That's one of the perks that you get for being a student at College of Charleston. You will be able to access the gym facilities. So they are beautiful. They're nice. Definitely go there. I want to say we have 2 different gym facilities on our campus. And so they're very nice. I would like to consider them to be state of the art, if you will. So you can go in there, work out with your friends at any time. I'm not sure if they are through certain time frames, but as long as you're a CFC student, you can go in there. Special area for us.
Thanks, Morgan. Our next question is focusing on if we could talk about internships and faculty mentorship, research opportunities. Are those opportunities available to freshmen or all students or just upperclassmen? If there's a counselor that would like to speak on that, that would be great.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different internship opportunities. If you look at the majors website, so whatever major you're interested in at the College of Charleston, a lot of our departments do a wonderful job of outlining the different internship and different research opportunities that students can partake in that department. A lot of them are going to be opened to freshmen. You can start as early as your freshman year. Some courses may be only for juniors or seniors, so it kind of depends on the department, but you can start partaking in research and start looking at different internships as early as your freshman year. But like I said, it does vary on the department. So if you look on the department's website, a lot of them do list the various different internship opportunities they have within that department and how you can be involved. So if you're looking at something specific and you kind of already know what you're interested in majoring in, definitely check out that department. It also has contact information for that department as well, because the criteria for that is all going to be up to that department themselves, and they can give you the most accurate answers. So you can start as early as your freshman year, but you just want to make sure that you're looking at the right opportunities when you're on the website. So if you have any questions, reach out to those departments you're interested in specifically.
Thank you, Kadeem. All right, we have a couple more questions that have been asked, and it looks like our counselors in the chat are getting to them as well. We're getting a lot of housing questions, and so one of them asks, is affordable off-campus housing challenging to find after freshman year? And I think Rebecca just answered that as well in the chat, but the college certainly would love to accommodate you on campus, but there are lots of different housing options that are not directly affiliated with College of Charleston that are still downtown, so you don't have to worry about commuting. And a lot of them are student-specific housing. Some of our upperclassmen choose to rent off-campus apartments or historic homes that have been turned into apartments. So there are certainly a lot of different options available to you, but our housing office specifically will work with you to the best of their abilities if you would like to stay on campus as an upperclassman. This is a good question, and it asks, do you need to be formally enrolled in order to accept your financial aid? If one of the counselors could answer that.
Yeah, so you will need to be enrolled to accept your financial aid because they're not going to disperse that financial aid to you if you were given a refund with your scholarships and grants, unless you are an enrolled student and have registered for classes. So if you know you're interested in the College of Charleston, you want to make sure you do your FAFSA. If you haven't done it already, please make sure you do your FAFSA. That's a reminder for everybody. But two, you will need to be enrolled in order to accept any of that financial aid for the upcoming semester.
I do want to add something to Devin, if I may. The financial aid packets, although those do come out around mid-March, a lot of students they email and they ask, well, can I just wait to pay my deposit until I know what you're going to offer me? I personally would not encourage that, just because, like, again, the housing application opens February 1st. So you kind of putting yourself at a later advantage of selecting those preferences there. So I wouldn't wait until you find out what your financial aid package is, just because that is a little later in the game. Totally up to you. But that is when those full packages will be made available around mid-March.
Perfect. Thanks, y'all. Let's see, what FAFSA year is required, and are you asking for the year 2022? Would anyone like to touch on FAFSA?
Sorry,
Rebecca?
do you mind? I was typing. Do you mind repeating that question?
Sure. I think they're asking what tax information would be required for the FAFSA application for this upcoming year.
Yes, so it's going to be based off of the previous year. So for those who are applying for that federal financial aid, it'll be based technically off of 2021, because we have not filed our taxes for 2022 unless you're way more advanced than I am.
There you have it. This is a good question. It's specifically related to particular programs, but sorry about that. But this is for everyone. It talks about transportation on campus, and we touched about that a little bit. But the question asks, I understand the majority of computer science courses are offered down near the aquarium. What type of school transportation is offered for students, and how late does it run into the evenings? Is it free, etc.? I'll let whomever jump on that one that would like to take it.
It's super accessible. The CARTA system that Morgan mentioned earlier, every single one of you will receive a Cougar card, as we like to call it. And that Cougar card gives you access to our bus system that will get you down to Harbor Walk. It is also, on a nice pretty day, only about a 15-minute walk, and you can get there in pretty quick distance. But that CARTA is a phenomenal resource for our students.
And we do have the shuttle layout for you. Thank you, Rebecca. We do have that shuttle layout for you guys. It shows you what time they're going to show up, where you guys can go as well. So it's really accessible. You won't feel lost, if you will. It's going to tell you where exactly to go, what time that shuttle is going to stop there, so you can plan your time wisely so that you can get there in time.
Perfect. Thanks. This next question is one that I'm shocked, honestly, we just got. I feel like we get it much earlier during these sessions, and it's always a popular one. Maybe we have a lot more local folks tonight. But this is asking about the hurricane season. When does it start? How often do we get hurricanes? And what's the safety protocol for those? Rebecca, I think this might be a one for you to jump on.
I'm not going to lie. We have become pretty good at hurricane evacuations. There was a year where, 2-3 years, or not a year, but 2-3 years when we did have to evacuate. So the college is very well prepared for these instances. We promise that you and your students will be safe. Every single student is required to fill out a what if questionnaire, if you would, in your whether it's through your housing or with your RA. But this will allow us to know, okay, if Sally Mae is going to be going home with her roommate in the case of a hurricane, or if Henry Wheeler is going to need to come with us as a college upstate somewhere. We know all of these plans in advance and know the students that we need to be looking out for who will be traveling with us. So it's important to have these conversations with your families, with students, to determine that. For example, my freshman year, one of my suite mates was from Portland, Oregon. It would have been a little bit hard for her necessarily to get back home to Portland. So her plan was to come home with me to Virginia. So of course, once you start meeting your suite mates and your roommates, you'll be able to have a little bit better of an idea of what that plan might be. By no means are we asking you to know that plan today on January 31st.
Thanks, Rebecca. And I think you said this, but just we've been very fortunate. We have not had to have any major evacuations or any big issues over the past several years. So we're thankful for that, and we're keeping our fingers crossed that will continue. This is a great question related to our support service offices on campus, but it asks, how does Charleston help with the transition from high school to now being a college student, students being more independent? Can someone talk about the resources that we offer for students, and not just for freshman year, things that are available to our students all 4 years and beyond?
So I will say that for me, like, again, I graduated class of 2022. It was a very difficult adjustment. However, the many resources that we had on campus did aid in that. So first of all, when you guys get to campus, you're going to be able to forge community bonds. So we do that by showing you the various organizations that we have for you to get involved in. We have over 240 of them. So you're going to be able to find your tribe, really. Also within your residence halls, there are resident hall assistants who are there to help you. They're going to show you different events we have on campus, whether it's taking you to a basketball game or, taking you to, I don't know, moonlight breakfast. There's a lot of different options for you to meet new people there as well. We have our Cougar counseling system that helps you guys. You can go there and talk with anybody if you're feeling sad or lonely. That those feelings do come. And so if you're missing your family, you want to chat with somebody, that is there as well. There's a lot of different things that we have. It can kind of be a little overwhelming, the amount of resources. I don't know if any of the other counselors want to chime in, but I will say that that backbone that we have here really does help in that transition process. Also, some students get afraid and they say, I don't know what classes to pick. How will that look? You're going to have an advisor who's going to kind of sit down, listen to your goals, and kind of, steer you in the direction of the classes that you may want to take. Of course, it's all going to be up to you at the end of the day, but you do have that backbone here at CFC.
Absolutely. Thanks, Morgan. All right, Kadeem, it looked like there was a question that you wanted to answer live. Again, on the Honors College, if you could touch on what some of the benefits are of the Honors Program. And really quickly, Kadeem, before you start, we do have just a few more minutes left of our presentation tonight. We have about 5 minutes left. So if you have an outstanding question, please make sure to type that in the chat while Kadeem is answering this question. All right, Kadeem, over to you.
Awesome, thank you. So some of the benefits of the Honors College, you get priority class registration with the Honors College, so you can register for classes before everyone else. They do have their living learning community in Berry Hall. You do get smaller class sizes. They average about a little fewer than 18 students. And then they do have over a majority of their students do some type of internship. There's faculty peer mentorship, and they do have service built into their curriculum. So like I mentioned earlier, they do a lot of learning in the classroom and taking that learning and turning it into real life experiences outside of the classroom. So those are just some of the benefits of being in the Honors College. So like I said, there's a lot more on their website, but there are a lot of benefits of being in the Honors College.
Perfect. Thanks, Kadeem. Rebecca, any of you can answer, but Rebecca, as a alum who studied abroad, I was hoping maybe you could take this question about study abroad. When do students typically apply? What are some of the requirements? Anything else you would like to share about study abroad and international education at CFC?
Yes. So students technically are not allowed to study abroad until after their freshman year. After your freshman year, if you want to study abroad for a summer, a semester, whole school year, then that option is completely up to you. We have a whole Center for International Education that will work with you to determine the best course of action, whether that is for a semester or for a school year or a summer. About 40% of our students will study abroad at some point. So we have an amazing foundation for you when it comes to studying abroad. I personally spent a whole semester in London. I've known students who have studied abroad more than once. There are study abroad scholarships as well. When I studied abroad, I got like $1,000 and that paid for my flight there and back. So our Center for International Education is a really, really great resource for students to utilize, and you can start going to their office though as early as freshman year, although you may not be able to actually study abroad until after your first year. Do it though. It's amazing.
There you have it. Strong endorsement from Rebecca. All right. Well, let's see. We'll take this one final question. It asks, as an incoming freshman, is there a chance I could not get housing if I waited until March?
No. As long as you all submit that housing application by May 1st, you are all guaranteed housing on campus. So May 1st, if there is anything that you take away from tonight, please know May 1st for submitting your enrollment deposit, submitting your housing deposit, or your housing application, excuse me, and everything. So our housing process is a little bit different, but as long as you submit that housing application by May 1st, you are guaranteed housing.
Perfect. Thank you, Rebecca. All right. Well, you all have had some fantastic questions tonight. We have answered almost 140 rapid fire questions, so good work. If there's anything that we did not cover this evening, or if you think of something after the fact, you can always email us. Our email address, if you need to jot this down again. Oh, excuse me. I don't know why my computer is acting up. If one of the counselors could drop in the chat the admissions events email address, that would be great. We'll get that ready for you all. And just as a reminder, this session was recorded and we will be sending it out likely by tomorrow evening to any student who's been admitted. So you didn't even have to, all of you registered, obviously, but we'll send this to all of our admitted students so that you can review. And if you didn't have time to jot down an answer, you can look back and review the information that we covered tonight. But again, thank you all for joining us. We are thrilled that you are going to be joining the College of Charleston family. We hope we will see you on campus this spring or around the country this spring for some of our admitted student receptions where we might be in a city near you. So keep a lookout for those evites, and best of luck to all of you. We'll see you soon. Have a great night.